Good afternoon, everyone. My name is KatieKim. I am 16 years old, and currently I am attending the International School of Bangkok. Now, before I get started on my TED Talk today, I would like to present a short little biography about myself. My twin brother and I were born to a mother who died giving birth to us, and to a father whom we were kept hidden from. Shortly after our birth, we were adopted into two very different families. While I was raised into a life of luxury and privilege, my brother, being adopted by our real aunt and uncle, was raised on a moisture farm. When I was much older, I had the opportunity to go on a great adventure and meet many different kinds of people, including my brother, who awkwardly fell in love with me, but thankfully, he found out about our relationship before anything occurred. Nevertheless, with my newly made friends and brother, we managed to save the galaxy, and I even learned to control the Force. Now at this point, most of you are probably thinking, wait, this sounds awfully familiar. And you're right. This wasn't a biography about myself, but rather an account of the fictional character Princess Leia from the famous series Star Wars. Now, if I hadn't mentioned terms that are unique to Star Wars, such as galaxy and the Force, would you have made the connection? Probably not. This biography that I shared with you was an example of deliberate manipulation through language, a technique that is used by the media so frequently and subtly that most of the times we aren't even aware of it. This is what I'll be talking about today, and specifically its usage in advertisements. Now, a very important fact that people often overlook or ignore is that the media is an industry based on one thing and one thing only: money. Therefore, the media often present misleading information and concealed truth to attract as large of an audience as possible. From the false lines of scientifically proven to the misleading art of euphemism, language and advertisements are all carefully constructed to portray a specific idea, but more importantly, to persuade. In 3 studies conducted by Scott Purvis of the marketing research firm Gallup and Robinson, 240 pairs of advertisements were presented to viewers, who were then asked to choose the advertisement of each pair that was the most persuasive. Here's an example of one of the pairs of advertisements used in one of the studies. Now, looking at these 2 advertisements for the same product from the same company, which is most persuasive? Is it advertisement A, which uses many rhetorical devices such as repetition and positive expressions such as America's most prescribed acid control medicine, consistently and complete heartburn relief? Or is it advertisement B, which uses no rhetorical devices and uses more negative phrases such as suffer and potential serious condition? If you answered advertisement A, you are correct. Advertisement A was actually one of the 120 pairs of advertisements that use rhetorical devices. These advertisements were found to have higher memorability and a much higher persuasion score than those that did not. This result emphasizes how rhetorical devices can be a powerful factor in persuading a consumer to buy or use a certain product. William Lutz, a well-known linguist and author, stated that there are 3 main rhetorical devices used by society, and especially by the media, to persuade us as potential customers. The first device is euphemism, or language designed to mislead, cover up the unpleasant, and specifically designed to alter our perception of reality. When I was a child, like most children, I went through a phase in which everything I touched seemed to magically break. Now, at first, I would shy up to my mother and say in the most miserable voice a 6-year-old can muster, "Mommy, I broke it." But as I got older and smarter, I found a way to avoid trouble. Instead of saying, "I broke it," I began to state phrases such as, "I temporarily dismantled it." And at that time, I didn't think that I was deceiving my mother, rather that I was explaining what had happened in less direct terms. But I mean, I was telling her the truth nonetheless. And maybe it was because my mother was kind, or because she was deceived by my cunning wit. But she seemed to yell at me less when I would replace the expression. This technique is most recurrently used in advertisements to replace expressions that are unpleasant rather than uncomfortable, such as in this advertisement for a car rental company. The phrase used is replaced with the expression certified pre-owned. Now, these two phrases mean the same thing. They're both used, but they give off different feelings and emotions. Certified pre-owned gives more of a sense of dependability and trust because of its certification. This makes euphemism an effective tool in advertising. The second rhetorical device is jargon, or the specialized language of a specific group. Have you ever gone to the doctor's office and been given a prescription in which you realize you didn't understand a word of at all? This recently happened to me when I went to the doctor's office, and I received a prescription that stated, abstain from the aggregation of the intake of caffeinated drinks and possible allergens to alleviate arrhythmia. In this case, medical jargon is used, making it difficult for a person like me, who is not medically trained, to understand what was written. And in advertisements, this exclusionary language aids in attracting specific members of a group, while at the same time repulsing other members that might not understand the phrases given. For example, in this advertisement, phrases such as 200,000 CFM of air and cupolas and shakeout hoods are used, attracting specific members who understand these phrases, while at the same time repulsing average members who might not understand the expressions given. The third rhetorical device is inflated language, or language designed to make the ordinary seem extraordinary and the common uncommon. Coca-Cola advertisements are one of the finest illustrations of this device. Nearly every Coca-Cola advertisement introduces the idea that through the usage of their product, a normal, average person can become cool, popular, and the object of affection. And in this specific advertisement, it deliberately states that by merely drinking this soda pop, children have a much higher chance as preteens of fitting in and gaining acceptance. Now, has that ever resulted in that for you? All joking aside, due to the effectiveness of these rhetorical devices in persuading the consumer, language and advertisements are all carefully constructed to manipulate and to convince. And although language was just a small portion of the countless forms of deliberate manipulation, I compel you to look for these misleading devices used so cleverly by the media and to avoid being misled. Furthermore, I urge you to raise awareness of this subtle form of manipulation. According to Dr. Christine L. Blair of the Bowling Green State University, there are a limited number of studies that even recognizes the use of rhetorical devices in advertisements. The more we are able to bring awareness to this issue and increase the regulation of advertisements, the less we can allow the media to so easily deceive and manipulate us. Thank you.